which company is best positioned to fully leverage the massively expensive sports rights leagues relationships right now. I think I've become a dead horse at one point, at some point, but I think big tech is the only suite of companies that's going to be able to possibly afford the crazy prices necessary to purchase the best sports rights out there. So the NFL, IPL, Premier League, those types of companies. Reliance is the owner of the streaming rights of cricket in India. Disney is now the owner of a massive set of rights. But if you look at where the puck is going in the US, YouTube and Amazon seem to have a better position on where it's going than ESPN might. So I'm going to toss this out there. Same question to y'all, but also on the back end of that, does Spulu, the sports bundle, or disco balls, depending on what you want to call it, in context of all of this, so who can best take advantage of sports rights? And in context of your answer, does Spulu work or does disco balls fall flat?
I guess I'll jump in first. I got in there first before you, Alan, but I'll be short. I think I'd agree, and I think it's been a long-standing problem for services where there's been a continual rise in the cost of content, especially the highest value content, which tends to be sports. And we see we're already from what Amazon has done with the NFL, what Google's done, and what they're willing to do with YouTube TV. And I think that it's only going to accelerate the inflation of prices when it comes to live sports. And in the end, how are they able to afford it? Well, the nature of their businesses, they're able to absorb it in their very diversified businesses, right? They can absorb that massive cost and make it work. And it may be, financials that other pure play streaming services simply can't work. So something like a Spulu or Disco Balls may be one of the only ways that collectively you can get enough bargaining power to really be able to go up against, these massive tech giants and hypothetically amass, not piecemeal these massive big picture deals, but enough mass of sports content that's diversified where it's not, two big leagues. It's actually a lot of coverage. And that may be a good value proposition for people who really love sports. They want just one reliable source where they can watch a lot of content or maybe all of
Well,
their
what are they going to have to charge to the individual consumer? I think I saw
Wall Street
$40.
Journal said 50. Wall Street Journal said $50.
Do I hear 60? Do I hear 70? I mean,
I think it might be
without
less
the
than that,
NFL, without the NFL, without
yeah.
Premier League.
I mean,
30, maybe 50. 50's high in this environment, I think.
Yeah, but how does it work economically otherwise?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think the other. Sorry, Alan, you're going to say what I was going to say, so you go first.
Okay, so two things. If I'm the NBA or the NFL, I'm looking around and going, okay, Alphabet, Amazon, they're gonna be around in 2-3 years. Like, I have no, confidence that any of these other companies are going to be around in 2 or 3 years. They're not going to get bought by someone else. They're not going to be merged. So why wouldn't I go with them, right? And as for Spulu, like, say it's $40 or $50, which is what the Wall Street Journal, and I believe Jessica Tunkel, she's pretty on spot there. Like, for $72, I can get YouTube TV. So why the fuck would I go and spend like a little bit less money and not get CBS and NBC? Like, I can get all the sports I want in one place for a few dollars more.
Yeah, but for the broadcasters or for the cable companies, and this is as true in Europe as it is and throughout the rest of the world as it is in the US. These rights aren't profitable. There's just no way to make them profitable. I don't care how many subscribers you sign up for a day, Peacock. It's going to be hard to justify $100 million per game.
Well, yeah. So let's
but wait. Let me ask Ophelie.
Let me just before you explain why it's not profitable, because that's really important.
Well, because they're paying so much per minute of content.
Because they used to have to force people to take their packages when it was all on cable.
Now that fee is disappearing on a regular basis. So Fox can't rely on their retransmission consent to the level that they could to help pay for that football deal. But in Europe, you have this interesting system where a lot of the major sports, so FIFA is guaranteed to be on a public service media. It's the biggest football match of the world every 4 years, and everybody gets to watch it for free, right?
Yes, but then you also have a lot of premium sports that are very expensive and that used to be bought by the big pay TV names in Europe. So
But are
you
now
had
being bought
Sky,
by.
Canal Plus.
But now,
Yeah.
who's going to be buying those now? Do you think?
DAZN, mostly. I mean,
What's the DAZN's strategy? It feels like an exit strategy, kind of expressly to me.
so actually, they published recently their 2022 annual report. They're kind of late, but I guess that's that's whatever. And yeah, they're reducing their debt, so they're still $1 billion in debt. But I mean, as of 2022, so maybe it got better last year.
Yeah, but they invested
we
in a
don't
lot
know.
of sports rights over that time, and then
Yeah, they did,
and-
but they have a very interesting strategy because they're an OTT platform. They can afford to do stuff that not many other pay TV cable cos could do before, which is investing a lot in betting, in additional interactive features, and merchandising. So they can actually push revenue-driven features way better than the others used to do because they were mostly relying on broadcasting for generating revenues. So it might be that they're actually heading for profitability not so far off from now. I think they mentioned even 2024. I'm not sure that that's going to happen, but they're quite optimistic. So it's actually not too bad.
But even in your region, the regions that you cover, to a
Mhm.
certain extent, sports rights are traditionally, not always. I mean, there are the pure play cable companies, right, or television companies, but very often they're bundled by a mobile carrier, correct? Or am I
By
mistaken?
telcos, they used to
Yeah.
be, yeah, but less and less now. So
Less and less,
Amazon Prime entered in France, and DAZN has the rights in most markets except for France now, but the tender is still pending for the domestic championship in soccer. And the thing is, yeah, I mean, in Europe, outside of soccer, not much costs a lot, let's say. So that's what drives the...
Ophelie,
Right.
do they make less money on advertising, Ophelie, on on soccer? Because there's not like in American football, basketball, there's just so many breaks. They can run so many commercials. Soccer is a very different game. So do they make less money that way?
Yeah, they make way less money. I don't know how it works exactly for media sales in the US, specifically to the big games, but in Europe, we still have a very, very strong regulation across the different markets when it comes to advertising sales. So you're limited in how much ad breaks you can put. And even if obviously the prices go up during big games, it's nowhere comparable to what's going on with the NFL, like nowhere.